Yeah. There was one last point I just wanted to touch on was on the FOMO part that you that came up, and it's how to, especially I'm finding with our job. I think I've said this to you guys. It feels like a kid in a chocolate store, in a candy store, and you just want to do everything, and it's how do you switch that off to then the opposite. I don't know if you've heard this term, JOMO, the joy of missing out. So being
Ooh,
able to like
I love that.
appreciate, yeah, that you're not
Amen.
actually doing anything.
Yeah. I definitely struggled with that more at this job than in previous roles. It's like, bye. It was fine. I think I just love what we do, and and our company is changing so much so quickly. But I think systems are important. So like removing all the apps from the phone was really helpful. And then eventually you get into like a different pacing where, I don't know, Ashley, if you experience this, but like your day is just like, all right, what part of the cycle are we in for, for baby right now? And really got more into, especially when, first month when there's a lot of napping going on, it's just reading and enjoying the moments. And then, that gets a little bit more unpredictable. But I think it's kind of recognizing, like that addiction piece of it, and then trying to be aware of it and set up some systems so it's not quite so easy to have access to things. But Ashley, how did you navigate that?
Well, you remember I texted you at one point, like, because there was a manager retreat in December and we were still out on leave. And I was like, well, should we go? Should we call in? And I remember texting Allison, like, are you going to this? She's like, no, I'm not. I was like, oh, yeah, that's the right response. So sometimes I think an accountability partner is helpful here too. And that can be a coworker. My husband does it a lot for me, where I'll say, well, I don't think I can do this, and this is happening. And then he'll just sort of help me talk through or think through, like, what do I feel like I'm really missing out on? And sometimes it's like, hey, I actually don't want to miss out on this. I actually really want to go and be in person. Like, we were in person a couple of weeks ago, and that was the first time I've traveled away from her. And I was able to do it because he was so supportive and helping me prioritize when is the right time for me to be away from her, and when are the times that it's like, yeah, it's okay. So I think I'm actually a lot better at it now, because I know the things that I want to, what's worth me spending time away from her. So if it's like, oh, it'd be nice to have you at this event, but you're not necessary, I'm like, thank you, that's great. And so I think also just asking people, like, what's going on? What's the agenda? What's the, what's happening, and where would I contribute? And if it doesn't feel like it would serve me the best, then that might actually be a better opportunity for someone else on my team. And then it gives them a space and chance to grow. But it's hard.
I can imagine it's hard when you love it so much, but I love that point about having an accountability buddy who just reminds you that you really need to be there. Is it time to slow down? Yeah, joy of missing out came to me when a friend I used to live with, when his dad finally retired, he literally didn't know what to do himself, because he had no hobbies, he had nothing. And I remember thinking, please God, that happened to me. Be able to enjoy quiet time. So I've been been calmly trying to practice it, of how can you switch off and just slow down. Inner work days are quite a good one to practice that, of just have no plan and just aimlessly just see where the day takes you and flow with it.
Yeah, especially when at least for me, I've still made sure to have childcare those days. And so it's so rare that I get a day. It's actually just inner work days that I have a day to myself. He's, now, and it's such a gift to like reconnect with things that I used to be interested in, but haven't had a chance to. One time I actually went horseback riding on inner work day. I can't do that with any of my family members. My husband is totally allergic, and the kids are just a little bit too little. And so it really is a gift to be intentional at that time too.
Yeah.
That's such a great point because, like, I was looking as when I came back to work, I was looking at the inner work days, like, oh, great, I have a day for just me and Isla to hang out. And I'm like, well, I actually have a lot of days like that. I don't have a lot of days for just Ashley. And so I have actually switched to that method too. Like, she still goes to daycare on inner work days. And I am doing Ashley stuff that day.
I remember talking with Kyla, and she was talking about, I don't know what to do on inner work day, spend it with the kids. And I was like, no, that's not the inner work day.
Inner work.
Yeah.
That's just a normal day. So
That's just a normal day. Yeah. I mean, occasionally I have kept her home once just because I hadn't seen her a lot. But the last couple ones, I'm like, you're going to go to daycare. You'll be fine. You know? She has so much fun there anyway. So,
yeah. Well, okay. I just want to thank you so much for this. And this is the last question. As we look forward, what's one thing that you would like to focus on to help with your mental fitness?
I think for me, that's being grounded in my body more. I spend so much time like a little squirrel in my head, thinking about things and planning things. And it's a bit frenetic in there. And I think there's so many great practices that I've found really useful for being grounded. And as I've developed a little very tiny muscle around that over time, it's such a place of refuge when, there's stresses at work and I can just come back to it. But, whether that's exercising or meditating, but it's more of like, body into mind rather than just trying to think differently about things. So that's one area that I've been really committed to this year and learning a ton about.
I love that point. That's something I've just recently moved into farmland, and we have these forests at the back, and getting up every morning just to go and listen to the birds and spend time in nature has just been so amazing. And I call my wife the bedroom general because she'll sit there as soon as she wakes up. I can just see in her head she's already calculated how to conquer the whole world. And like, can we just get out of bed? Let's go downstairs and go outside. So it's quite important I find like when I wake up and my logical brain's already taken off, I have to do something to just stop it and like, okay, let's just settle into the body. That's something I'm trying to do. Ashley, I'd love to hear yours. Mine
is similar. But it's actually physical activity. So that's the one thing I'm missing the most right now. And that's probably the one thing that's been the biggest change pre-baby to post-baby is, I would work out in the morning before I'd start work. And sometimes I would do it in the evening, but I had gotten this nice habit of like waking up early and doing that. Well, now I'd wake up early and get her ready and get her to daycare. And there's just not as many, out minutes there for me to also find time to exercise. And then living where I'm at in the Midwest, the weather just hasn't been real agreeable to then take time in the afternoon. So I'm really looking forward to summer for it to warm up, for the longer stretches of daylight in the evening, so I can just move my body more. Because Allison, similar, I'm in my head quite a bit, and I need to force myself to just move my body and be kind of disconnect from the swirling thoughts.
No, thank you for those points. I love that grounding and basically exercise and just moving our bodies.
Yeah, I'm setting a low bar. Just get out for a walk. That's all I.
Well, as we were saying earlier, just sometimes even just having a shower, having the time for a shower, appreciate it. That's a win. Some days.
Yeah, it's a win on my days.
Thank you so much, guys. This has been really appreciated.
This is a fun discussion.
Yeah, this was. I appreciate you inviting us for it.
Thanks, guys. All right.
All right. Bye.